Yo, James D. Buzzard, and today we are talking all about Sony Catalyst Browse, specifically for the Sony ZV-E10. Now, everything that we're going to be talking about today can be applied to cameras like the Sony A7C, the Sony ZV-1, the Sony FX9, the Sony FX3, the Sony FX6, basically any of the newer Sony cameras that have the inbuilt gyro stabilization. This gyro stabilization feature is going to actually record the gyroscopic data to your guys' footage. That way, when you guys take it into Sony Catalyst Browse, which Sony Catalyst Browse is a stabilization software, or it's actually an editing software from Sony that allows you to do things like color grade, stabilize footage, and sort through your footage, all sorts of other stuff. But today we're specifically going to be looking at the stabilization feature in Catalyst Browse. But Catalyst Browse is going to allow us to stabilize our footage using that gyroscopic data. So let's not waste any time today. Let's jump into the very first test where we're actually using the Sony ZV-1 and the 16 to 50 millimeter kit lens to give us kind of a baseline of all four stabilization modes. That includes no stabilization, standard stabilization, active stabilization, and then we are also going to be checking out a clip with Catalyst Browse stabilization applied to the clip at a 90% cropping ratio, or a 10% crop into the footage. So let's go ahead and check out all four of these examples. A big note that I want to make before we get into this test footage is that I kept the shutter speed the same at 1/200 for all of these test clips, and we shot them in 24 frames per second. Typically, you would want to have a 1/50 shutter speed when you're shooting in 24 frames per second, but since we knew that we were going to be bringing these clips into Catalyst Browse, I wanted to have a much higher shutter speed so Catalyst Browse can do its thing and our footage won't end up looking mushy after we go ahead and render it out. So by keeping that shutter speed nice and high, we can actually have a much better final result in Catalyst Browse. So in order to minimize the overall variables between shots, I kept the shutter speed at 1/200 for all of the test footage in this video. So now let's get back into this actual test footage. And here we go. No stabilization, comfortable arm's length away from the camera, looking left, looking forward, looking right, looking back forward, and passing our ZV-1 stabilization test. Like, we're walking forward, comfortable arm's length away from the camera, we're looking left, we're looking straight, we're looking right, we're looking straight, and we're passing our ZV-1. And test is complete. And we are walking, and we are looking left, and we're looking straight, and we're looking right, and we're looking straight, and we are passing our Sony ZV-1, and that is our stabilization. Here we go. No stabilization, comfortable arm's length away from the camera, looking left, looking forward, looking right, looking back forward, and passing our ZV-1 stabilization test complete. Here we go. And we are walking forward, no stabilization, and we're looking left, comfortable arm's length away from the camera. Left, we're looking left, right, looking forward, right, and we're looking straight. We're looking straight. And we are passing our Sony ZV-1, and that is our stabilization. So after checking out that very first round of tests, you guys can hands down notice that Catalyst Browse is doing the best job at stabilization. Active stabilization is doing a pretty good job. However, when you guys see it right up against the shot using Catalyst Browse, you guys are gonna notice right away that you guys can see the jello and all of that warpiness kind of in the footage. Now, on its its own, it definitely looks pretty good. But again, when you guys see it up against that Catalyst Browse shot, the Catalyst Browse shot really does look like you're almost on a gimbal, and it is extremely smooth. In this next example, we are actually using the Ulanzi wide angle adapter, and what I really want to check out is the overall field of view that we are going to get with the kit lens without the adapter and the kit lens with the adapter, both with Catalyst Browse applied, to see what the overall field of view difference that we're going to get with the Ulanzi wide angle adapter on, and what kind of results that we're going to get with Catalyst Browse. So let's go ahead and check out this Ulanzi wide angle adapter and the overall field of view that we're getting with Catalyst Browse applied. And we are walking straight, and we are looking left, and we are looking straight, and we're looking right, and we are looking straight, and we are passing our Sony ZV-E10, and test is over. And we are walking straight, and we are looking left, and we are looking straight, and we're looking right, and we are looking straight, and we are passing our Sony ZV-E10, and test is over. And we are walking straight, and we are looking left, and we are looking straight, and we're looking right, and we are looking straight, and we are passing our Sony ZV-E10, and test is over. And here we go. And we are walking straight, no stabilization, and we are looking arm's left, length away from the camera, and we're looking straight, looking left, and we're looking right, forward, and we're looking straight, looking back forward, and we are passing our Sony ZV-E10, and stabilization over. For this next example, I wanted to switch up the lenses that we were using, so we're going to be using the Rokinon 12mm f2.0, and I really want to focus in on active stabilization versus Catalyst Browse, the overall field of view that we're getting with both of them side by side, and which one is doing a overall better job at stabilization. And I think this one's going to be fairly obvious, so let's go ahead and roll this next test. We are walking straight, we're looking left, we're looking straight, we're looking right, and we are looking straight. And now we are passing the Sony ZV-E10, and that is the test right there. Straight, we are looking left, we are looking straight, we are looking right, we are looking straight, and we are now passing the ZV-E10, and that is the test. We are walking straight, we are looking left, we are looking straight, we're looking right, and we are looking straight. And now we are passing the Sony ZV-E10, and that is the test right there. Straight, we are looking left, we are looking straight, we are looking right, we are looking straight, and we are now passing the ZV-E10, and that is the test. In that last example, it is fairly obvious which stabilization mode is better out of active stabilization and Catalyst Browse. Catalyst Browse doesn't crop in as much as active stabilization, and we're just getting an overall better looking final result using Catalyst Browse. So now that we checked out active versus Catalyst Browse, let's focus in on standard stabilization versus Catalyst Browse. Using the 10 to 18 millimeter, we're not only going to check out standard and Catalyst Browse, but we're also going to check out active stabilization using the 10 to 18 millimeter at 10 millimeters. So let's go ahead and roll this next set of test footage. And we're walking straight, and we are looking left, and we are looking straight, and we are looking right, and we are looking straight. And we are passing our Sony ZV-E10. Yes. And test is over. We are walking straight, and we are looking left, and we are looking straight, and we're looking right, and we're looking straight. And we are passing the ZV-E10. And the test is now complete. And we're looking left. And we are looking straight. And we're looking right. And we're looking straight. And we're passing that ZV-E10 again. And the test is now over. And we're walking straight. And we are looking left. And we are looking straight. And we are looking right. And we are looking straight. And we are passing our Sony ZV-E10. Yes. And test is over. We are walking straight. And we are looking left. And we are looking straight. And we are looking right. And we are looking straight. And we are passing our Sony ZV-E10. And yes, the test is now complete. Over. And we're walking straight, and we're looking left. And we are looking left, and we are looking straight. And we're looking straight. And we're looking right. And we are looking straight. And we're passing our Sony ZV-E10. And yes, the test is now over. So after checking out that last clip, it's fairly obvious that Catalyst Browse is better than all the other stabilization modes. But if you guys are looking to get footage out in a pinch, or you guys have tight deadlines, things that you need to get up and posted quickly, standard and active stabilization are gonna do you guys just fine. So I would not hesitate to use either one of those modes with the new Sony ZV-E10, especially if you guys do not wanna get into the workflow of actually stabilizing your footage in post, which can be time consuming, whether you guys are using a warp stabilizer or your inbuilt stabilization in your guys' editor, or you guys are using something like Sony Catalyst Browse. But before we get into the actual workflow of using Sony Catalyst Browse, I want to actually show you guys a couple more examples of some test footage that I grabbed. This one right here is actually just some quick test footage I grabbed of the geese out back behind my house, and I just wanted to see what the footage looked like using an 85mm lens. For the first test, we used Catalyst Browse at 10%, or punching into the footage 10%, or a 90% crop ratio. For this second clip, we actually punched into 50%, or a 50% cropping ratio in Sony Catalyst Browse. And either one of those gets you extremely stable footage, even on a longer lens such as an 85mm on a crop sensor, which is closer to like 130mm. So obviously, if you guys are holding something handheld at 130mm, it's going to be extremely shaky. And my 85mm has no inbuilt lens stabilization in the lens, so it's either active stabilization or Catalyst Browse for those shots. And Catalyst Browse does an amazing job at stabilizing your guys' footage without even needing to really sacrifice too much of your field of view. So that's definitely awesome. So now let's actually get into this next example. This is my daughter holding the Sony ZV-E10 with the 85mm on it at f1.8, and I'm having her actually trying to keep me centered in the frame. So I'm calling this the Novice Camera operator test. So let's see how stable the footage we can get with my daughter holding the camera. And keep in mind, this is probably a little heavy for her with the 85mm on there, and she has no idea what she's doing when it comes to operating a camera, especially one like the ZV-E10, which is obviously a more advanced camera for a 6-year-old. So let's see how Londyn did actually filming me with the 85mm and using Catalyst Browse.
Okay, you gotta walk at the same time.
Yeah.
You getting it?
I think.
Should I walk slower or faster? If I walk faster, you gotta walk faster.
It's
Am I good? You holding me in the center of that line? Are my eyes on the line?
yeah.
Nice. Good job. Keep me on that line.
For that footage, I actually cropped into the footage about 20%, or we had in Catalyst Browse, we had it set to an 80% cropping ratio. As you guys can see, it did a fairly good job at stabilizing that footage. Obviously, I don't think we have too many 6-year-olds out here as camera ops that are using Catalyst Browse, so I think you guys can expect better results than this. But let's actually move on to the next test, where we have me holding the camera at 85mm f1.8, and we are actually going to have my daughter walk straight to the camera, and we're gonna see how well does the ZV-E10 tracker, and how well does Sony Catalyst Browse do to stabilize this handheld 85mm. Let's go ahead and roll the footage.
You can walk a little faster, boo-boo. Oh my gosh, there's no way you can stabilize this. You're trying not to blink your eyes? I think you could blink now. No blinks. You were super close. All right. You can walk a little faster, boo-boo. Oh my gosh, there's no way you can stabilize this. You're trying not to blink your eyes? I think you could blink now. No blinks. You were super close. All right.
As you can tell in this last example, that footage is pretty darn stable for it being 85mm at f1.8. The Sony ZV-E10 did a very good job at tracking her, and at 70.5% cropping ratio in Catalyst Browse, or at a 29.5% crop into the footage. It did a very, very good job at stabilizing this footage. I don't think there are too many people out there that are gonna be using an 85mm on the Sony ZV-E10 and expecting to get a shot like that. Most people would probably just put it on a tripod and get the exact same shot, but as you guys can see, it can be done. And if you guys are looking for that cool little bit of a handheld movement in your shot, Catalyst Browse is going to give you that while still allowing your shots to be very smooth and very presentable to your audience. So now that we actually checked out all of this test footage, let's actually check out one of these test clips on the computer so that you guys can see the actual workflow when you guys are working with Sony Catalyst Browse. And I must say up front that it's really not that much longer than if you guys were using something like Warp Stabilizer and you need to sit there and wait for that small clip to render out. It's really not much longer than that. So let's jump back here behind the computer and let me show you guys the actual workflow instead of just talking about it. We're back here at the computer, and I'm gonna show you guys how quick and easy it is to actually stabilize your footage using Sony Catalyst Browse. So the very first thing we're gonna do is take the very first test clip from today's video, which was that no stabilization clip using the Sony 16 to 50 millimeter kit lens. So I'm just gonna drag this over here on my timeline, and we're gonna really quickly just apply warp stabilizer. I'm not even going to do too much to it. We're just gonna, actually, we're gonna apply standard warp stabilizer with none of my presets or anything like that. Footage, and we are done, and we are cropped in, so we can use this footage to compare with our Catalyst Browse results. So let's actually go into our, let's find Sony Catalyst Browse. Let's go ahead and open Catalyst Browse, and we will find file C4011, C4011. I want the original file. All right, and now this is our original file here in Catalyst Browse. We've only been in Catalyst Browse for like 10 seconds. So let's go ahead and pick stabilize. Our clip is now stabilized already. It's automatically stabilized. Let's see. So it's already stabilized, at least so that we can view the footage and see what the overall result would look like. We still haven't exported it yet, but what we would actually want to do, and what I did for all of these examples, is I only stabilized the portion of the footage that I actually wanted. So that way I'm not sitting here waiting for the entire clip to render. So I just get it to a point where, about where I want it to go. I'll take this playhead and play the footage back. Now this is obviously way too tight of a crop. So up here in the top right corner, we're gonna take it off of auto and put it in manual. Once we're in manual, we can see the actual auto crop, or what Sony Catalyst Browse thought we should stabilize this footage to. However, I'm gonna click and drag this slider and actually put it at 90%, the same as we did for our example. And now I can drag this end playhead so that we can get the end. I don't need it where we turned, so I'll just get right to where we started that turn, put it right there. And now this is our stabilized clip in Catalyst Browse. All we need to do now is actually export the footage. So we're gonna go up here to the top right and hit export. This is going to be all of our export options. Now I do want XAVCS, the format size, we're gonna keep it 4K, frame rate, we're gonna keep it the same, everything we're gonna keep it the same, and we're gonna hit export. So this is asking me if I want to keep the existing or replace it. I'm going to say keep existing. I already stabilized this exact same clip for today's YouTube example, but let's see how long it actually takes to render out this stabilized clip. So we can kind of see this progress bar right here at the bottom, and we're going to sit here and wait for it to get all the way to the end, and I will show you guys the final time. All right, and stabilization is complete. So now we can actually click on that 3-dot little menu right there, and that's how we're gonna quickly be able to access this file in our browser. So now we're gonna be able to come here and find 40, I believe it was 11 slash, or 11, and then this is the second time I've done this, so we're looking for this file right here. But now we can see that this clip has been stabilized. So let's go ahead and check out the final result.
And here we go. No stabilization. Comfortable arm's length away from the camera. Looking left, looking forward, looking right, looking back forward, and passing our ZV-1 stabilization test. And here we go. No stabilization, comfortable arm's length away from the camera, looking left, looking forward, looking right, looking back forward, and passing our ZV-1 stabilization test. And here we go. No stabilization, comfortable arm's length away from the camera, looking left, looking forward, looking right, looking back forward, and passing our ZV-1 stabilization test.
So after reviewing all of those clips and checking out the workflow, I think it's fairly obvious that Catalyst Browse is probably one of the best stabilization options out there, next to using something like a gimbal or a tripod or whatever other stabilization actual equipment you guys want to use. Catalyst Browse is definitely going to be your guys' best option for most of your guys' handheld footage that you guys want to be as stabilized as possible and almost like you guys shot it on a gimbal. I left chapter markers all throughout this video so that you guys can go back and compare individual clips to each other and see which stabilization features you guys think are the best and when you guys think you could get away with standard or active stabilization, or when you guys can put in the extra time to use Catalyst Browse, which really is not that much over something like warp stabilizer. The one question that I have for you guys today is, what stabilization modes are you guys going to use and when are you guys going to use those stabilization modes? Anyways, that is all I had for today's video. Make sure that if you guys like content like this, that you guys hit that like button, and if you guys want to see more content from this channel and more content similar to this, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.